They say we're in the age of Aquarius now, where intuition trumps instruction, and being yourself is finally the most valuable currency. But here's what nobody's telling you. Carl Jung saw this coming 100 years ago, not in a financial forecast, but in a psychological prophecy. He wasn't reading market trends, he was decoding human souls. In a world obsessed with hustle, competition and grind, Jung offered something radical. He told us, "You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become." So here's the twist. What if making money today isn't about doing more, but about knowing yourself deeper? And what if your shadow, the parts of you you've pushed away, is actually your most creative business partner? Stay with me until the end of this video, because the 5 ideas I'll share aren't about side hustles or apps. They're about building an income from something far more sustainable: your inner truth. Let's get something straight. Carl Jung isn't on TikTok. He's not launching a course on how to get rich. And no, he didn't day trade or invest in crypto, but the man understood patterns, the inner architecture of the psyche, better than most understand algorithms. What Jung did give us is the blueprint for accessing something even more powerful than strategy: the authentic self. And if there's any real hack nowadays, it's that alignment is the new hustle. Now, before we talk about money, we need to talk about wholeness. Jung's 2 major concepts, individuation and the shadow, hold the keys. Individuation is the process of becoming your full self, the integration of your conscious identity with your unconscious parts. It's like becoming the truest version of you, instead of just the version that got good grades, followed the rules, or pleased your parents. The shadow, on the other hand, is everything you've repressed. Your weirdness, your anger, your messiness, your outrageous dreams, your desire to quit your 9-to-5 and start painting art on walls in Costa Rica. That stuff. Jung said the shadow isn't evil, it's simply unlived life, and that unlived life is often where your genius is hiding. Let me give you a real-world example. There's a woman who used to be a high-powered lawyer, brilliant, sharp, admired by all. But secretly, she was miserable. She loved sketching cartoons and writing absurd, mystical short stories. When she burned out and quit law, she let herself draw for fun. 2 years later, she's the creator of a wildly popular webcomic series that makes her 6 figures a year, all because she stopped hiding her inner artist and started integrating her inner child. That's individuation in action. That's what happens when the shadow is invited in. Now, here's the golden insight. We live in an era where value is no longer generated from hard labor. We are exiting the age of sweat for pay and entering an age of alignment for influence. People crave truth. They crave humanness. They don't want perfection, they want resonance. And when you show up as your full self, shadow, quirks, dreams and all, you become magnetic. Integration leads to expansion. Consciousness becomes currency. The old system, the one that told us we had to suffer to earn, to shrink to succeed, to compete to rise, is disintegrating. AI is automating half the work. Audiences are becoming more intuitive. Consumers are becoming creators. Meaning is the new marketplace. When you stop contorting yourself to fit the system, you realize you are the system now. Your story is your strategy. Your energy is your economy. And money becomes a natural byproduct of living fully, not a reward for struggling silently. Before we continue, if you're someone who loves expanding your mind and exploring the deeper layers of life, make sure to subscribe to Fractal Wisdom so you never miss a video. And stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might just realize your path to wealth was hiding inside your own story all along. And now let's talk about 5 powerful, organic, spiritually aligned ways to earn money, not by grinding, but by being more of who you actually are. And fair warning, these might challenge how you were taught to think about success. That's the point. The moment you start breaking the mental shackles, money starts to flow where energy was once trapped. 1. Shadow-based storytelling, the alchemy of expression. You know that thing you've been through? The breakup, the breakdown, the addiction, the trauma, the toxic relationships, the shame spiral that kept you quiet for years. That's the gold. We're living in a world where people are desperate for real stuff. Authenticity has become more than a buzzword. It's a beacon. And when you can tell your story with awareness, not for pity but for healing, people listen. People pay to hear it, read it, and feel it. Therapists are becoming content creators. Survivors are becoming authors. People are building courses, podcasts, books, documentaries, even NFT-based journaling apps. Not from their degrees, but from their depths. What used to be a secret is now a signature offering. The shadow says, no one will care. The truth is, that's exactly what people need to hear. And when you stop performing and start revealing, income shows up. Sometimes slowly, often unexpectedly, but always, only after you get honest. 2. Soul-led guidance. Your path is the curriculum. Let's be honest. The system of higher education is crumbling under its own weight. We were told for years that in order to be taken seriously, we needed a diploma, a title, and a framed piece of paper to validate our existence. But nowadays, something radical is happening. People are waking up to the fact that information doesn't equal transformation. You can have a degree and still be emotionally illiterate. You can have a PhD and still be disconnected from your intuition. You can spend $100,000 on an education and still not know what the hell you're here to do. And people are tired of that. What we're seeking now is real, soul-level depth. Not more data, but inner development. Not textbooks, but lived experience. That's where you come in. If you've walked through something and truly metabolized it, you're qualified, you are a guide. Not because an institution certified you, but because life initiated you. We don't need more professors reading from slides. We need humans who've sat with their shadows, healed their generational wounds, and can hold space for others to do the same. Your journey is your authority, and people are hiring soul-aligned coaches, guides, intuitive strategists, holistic mentors, not based on resumes, but based on resonance, on the clarity in your voice, on the groundedness in your presence, on the story you carry in your bones. Monetizing your healing doesn't mean exploiting it. It means honoring it. It means recognizing that your survival, your awakening, your perspective is medicine for someone else. So whether you offer one-on-one sessions, create spiritual development programs, or just speak from the heart online, remember, your truth is enough. The only credentials required now are self-awareness, embodiment, and a willingness to walk beside others as they remember who they are. And that's what builds real wealth, the kind that nourishes your soul and everyone it touches. 3. Creative transmutation, art from the soul. Ever notice how your most random creative impulses feel kind of electric? That's because creativity is soul language. It's the unconscious trying to speak through you. And in this economy, where automation is replacing routine, what remains sacred is originality. People aren't just buying pretty things, they're buying resonance. You don't need to be the next Picasso. You just need to be honest on canvas. This could be handmade intuitive art, spoken word poetry, archetypal tarot decks, digital illustrations from your dreams, journals, zines, channeled downloads. People feel when something is channeled through a healed heart, and the marketplace reflects that. Your weirdness, your vision, your metaphors. That's your niche now. 4. Micro-content oracles, speaking your frequency. Let me tell you, today TikTok, YouTube Shorts and Reels aren't just places for dances and memes. They're altars, digital stages where people are making real money by simply talking, sharing, and being. And when your voice comes from integration, people know. They lean in. Even 30 seconds of grounded, embodied insight can change someone's day. And when you post consistently from a place of service, resonance, and curiosity, opportunities start finding you. Paid speaking, collaborations, content monetization, even spiritual mentorships. You're not an influencer, you're a lighthouse, and people pay attention to those who light the way. 5. Conscious community building, monetizing connection. This is maybe the most underrated income stream. You don't need 10,000 followers, you need 10 real ones. If you've got a unique vibe, worldview, or lived experience, there are others like you, searching for you. You can create safe group spaces for self-discovery, online healing circles, niche Substack newsletters, paid Discord or Patreon communities, member-supported content that grows with your audience. This is not about being a guru, it's about being a mirror. Create a space where people feel seen, and money becomes a side effect of that trust. See, none of these income streams are about becoming someone else. They're about unbecoming who you were told you had to be, and remembering what you already are. What Jung tried to teach us wasn't that we had to fix ourselves, but that we had to see ourselves entirely, light and dark, mask and mystery. And that wholeness isn't just spiritual, it's practical. When you know yourself, you stop chasing. And when you stop chasing, you start attracting. So by now you've seen how money isn't just about economics anymore. It's about energy, alignment, and truth. And maybe part of you is excited, but another part of you is whispering things like, "But who would pay me for this? I'm not qualified yet. What if I fail? What if I'm too late? What if I'm not enough?" That's not you talking. That's your conditioning, your personal unconscious, and deeper still, the collective unconscious Jung spoke about. You see, Carl Jung didn't just give us theories. He gave us a map of the psyche. And within that map are archetypes, universal patterns that live inside all of us. Some of those archetypes help us rise. Others block the door to our potential. If you've been struggling to monetize your gifts, you're likely entangled with one or more of these internal characters, stories you didn't create, but have been repeating. So today, we're going to meet 5 of the most common abundance-blocking archetypes, and more importantly, learn how to re-script them. 1. The good student. This archetype says, follow the rules, do it the right way, be approved first. It's the voice of perfectionism, of waiting for permission, of looking for authority to validate you. This is the one that tells you not to launch your course, not to post your art, not to ask for money, because you haven't learned enough yet. But here's the thing. Mastery doesn't come before action. It comes through it. To transcend the good student, you must shift from seeking approval to sharing your evolution. Show your process. Be human. Be real. That's what builds trust. You're allowed to teach as you grow. You're allowed to sell your insights while you're still becoming. That's not fraud. That's leadership in real time. 2. The silent healer. This one is tricky. It's the part of you that wants to help, hold, heal, but never charge. It says, how can I ask for money when people are suffering? It romanticizes struggle and spiritualizes poverty. But listen, you can't pour from an empty cup. And healing isn't free. It costs time, energy, presence, preparation. Your life force is worth something. This archetype needs to understand that money is not a betrayal of service. It's a sacred exchange that allows you to continue serving sustainably. The reframe here is, your healed energy is a resource. Let it circulate. 3. The starving artist. The starving artist believes that real creativity must come with pain, that to be authentic, you must suffer, and that money will corrupt your art. This is a romantic myth, but a dangerous one, because it keeps brilliant people broke and burnt out. Jung would say, this is a shadow projection, a refusal to let the inner child be abundant, a clinging to drama instead of letting joy be the muse. To dissolve this, you must allow yourself to see money not as a threat, but as a way to amplify your art, to give it legs, to let it travel, and to reach the people who need it. Abundance does not dull creativity, it frees it. 4. The invisible one. You've been hiding, not because you don't care, but because deep down you believe it's safer to stay unseen. This archetype learned early that visibility leads to judgment, rejection, or even danger, so you've kept your voice small, your magic private, your power dimmed. But guess what? Now is not the time for playing small, not spiritually, not economically. The invisible one must become the sacred witness. You can be soft and seen. You can be gentle and bold. You don't need to scream to be visible. You just need to stand in your truth and let others feel your presence. 5. The overgiver. This archetype gives and gives, over-explains, over-delivers, overworks. It comes from a place of unworthiness. It says, I have to prove I'm worth receiving. This is exhaustion disguised as generosity. And it's not noble. It's survival. To heal the overgiver, you need to reclaim your right to receive, to rest, and to be supported. You don't need to justify your prices with 17 bonuses. You don't need to answer every DM at midnight. You're allowed to give from overflow, not obligation. Abundance flows through balanced circuits. You give, you receive, you breathe. Here's the deeper truth. Money these days isn't about credentials, it's about coherence. Not about being the loudest, but being the most aligned. People don't pay you because you're perfect, they pay you because you're true. The more you integrate these inner archetypes, by seeing them, healing them, rewriting them, the more naturally opportunities, clients, and ideas begin to arrive, not because you chased them, but because you became available for them. And that's the revolution Jung never got to witness, but absolutely foresaw. A world where inner work becomes outer wealth, where consciousness becomes the most valuable asset on earth. Now that you've met the parts of yourself that hold you back, and maybe for the first time, you're beginning to feel it. This shift that's been happening beneath the surface. It's not just about making money anymore, but about making meaning. About designing a life where your gifts are the product, your healing is the proof, and your energy, when directed with intention, becomes the magnet for abundance. Now that you've made some of the unconscious conscious, now that you see yourself, the game changes. So let's talk about how to live this, how to actually build a lifestyle and income around your inner truth. This isn't a funnel strategy, it's a frequency blueprint. 1. Anchor into the core vibe. Start here. What is the energy your presence transmits without effort? Not the role you've played, not the job title, but the actual frequency you bring into a room. Is it grounding? Is it catalytic? Is it mystical, soft, sharp, playful, poetic? Your income will be sustainable only when your output matches your true state. That means anchoring your offers, your content, your services in that energy, not trends. Ask yourself, if my soul had a business model, what would it be? Then build from that. No persona, no branding costume, just essence. And essence always sells. 2. Build a resonant offering ecosystem. This is where structure meets soul. Think of your energy like a story arc. Some people will find you on page 1, others will enter halfway through. So what do you want to offer them at each point? Here's a powerful structure many soul-led creators are using these days. Free resonance content. This is your medicine for the collective. Short-form videos, writing, audio, intuitive insights, personal truths, archetypal stories. Not to convert, just to connect. Low-entry offer. A low-priced workshop, class, or creative product that lets people deepen the connection. Core signature offering. This is the heartbeat. A one-on-one service, a group program, an immersive mentorship